Is this thing on? Hey, what's going on? Charles Austin here, and let's be fit forever. Ooh, I almost messed that one up. Let's try that again. Hey, what's going on? Charles Austin here, and let's be fit forever. All right, got it that time. It is another wonderful, thriving Thursday here, giving you tips to help your health thrive. We don't just want to survive, we want to thrive. So I'll be here most Thursdays. I was out of town last Thursday. I thought about doing a stream, but no, I was preoccupied. But anywho, so I'm back. So I try to be here every Thursday. If I miss a Thursday, I promise I will do my best. I will never miss two in a row. But again, we're here for another wonderful thriving Thursday to give you wonderful tips to help your health thrive. I cannot speak tonight. What a wonderful skill it is to have for somebody trying to do a live stream where they're talking and then they can't speak. But anyway, to get the business stuff out of the way real quick, remember. Anything that is said on this video or this channel is considered for educational and entertainment purposes only. It's not to be confused with medical advice. As always, you have to do your own research. Okay, you always got to do your own research. You got to read for yourself and make decisions for your own well-being. I am but a messenger, so I'm here to give you the message of how to make your health the best. All right, so real quick, you know me. Let me share this out real quick. Share it out. Share it out. I don't know what that was, man.
Deck.
I'm trying to. I don't know what's going on. All right, here we go. So, where am I? View channel. There we go. Share that thing out. Share. Copy. Here we go. Share. Cause somebody, I had some people on my Facebook. They told me, they said you don't even give us like you don't even share anything anymore. I'm like, man, I stream every Thursday. Discard. And see, as soon as you get ready to do something quickly, technology acts like it doesn't know what it's doing. Okay, now it's working. All right, anywho. So again, tonight's topic, we're going to be brief tonight. I'm a little tired. Busy day. I did a lot of reading today, working on a big project. So I did a lot of reading today. And sometimes when you do a lot of reading, it like kills your eyes, it kills your brain, it kills your energy. So that's probably why I can't talk. That's probably why I'm a little slow right now. But anywho, tonight's topic is going to be, I'm just going to read it straight straight from the phone, right? That's me. That's the one I just shared. Anger might be killing you, right? The effect anger has on your health. You know me, Charles Austin. I am a 20-year vet in the field of fitness, nutrition, health, wellness, chronic disease prevention, 10-year vet in epidemiology. I mean, I got some skills, right? Twice author. Man, it's funny. I've been promoting my new book that I have coming out, and I haven't written in it in like a month. Sometimes you go through peaks and valleys in writing. Sometimes you can have days and weeks. If anybody's ever written anything, you have days and weeks where you just go. But sometimes you just have times where you don't do anything. So I am so close to being finished. That's the crazy thing. I'm so close to being finished. And I'm looking for, if you see me looking down, I'm texting somebody asking me about Thursday stream. See, there's people out there. I'm building. So yeah. So Sometimes you have peaks and valleys when you're writing, and it is what it is. But I'm so close to being done. I'm looking forward to it. But without further ado, I said I was going to keep this 20 minutes or less, so that means I got about 15 more minutes. That was a long intro, but let's keep it roll. Let's get it rolling. So again, we're talking about anger, and you know how I like to do. I like to go straight, to the business, right? Straight to the info, straight to the facts. We don't play around. Okay. So, oh, before we do that, I want to pull this up. And this is kind of like something I decided. Um, Something I decided a little while ago that, this is my focus, right? When you find your purpose, you stick to it. And, well, there you go. You stick to it. Like I said, I'm tired, y'all. But anyway, I wanted to start here real quick. And I want to make sure that everybody is aware of this and they know, because I think the biggest thing that most folks tend to focus on when it comes to disease, as you see my junky background, I can't wait to get a better background, a better background. But anyway, whatever, you work with what you got. But I think one of the things people really, really tend to focus on is they focus on the fact that they focus on the fact that. I wonder if I can do this real quick. No, I don't want to do that. I'm trying to get rid of my toolbar. Anyway, see, I can't even figure this. Let me just do the stream today. But they focus on like the scariest thing to most people. If you were to ask anybody, you say, "What's the scariest disease that you could possibly have? Like, what scares you the most?" Most people would actually say cancer. I think most people would say cancer because cancer just has a word. As a word, it's just associated with fear and death and demise. And a lot of it is misunderstanding. But hey, again, once my book is done, I will explain everything you need to know about cancer. It will get rid of all the confusion about it. But we're not here to talk about cancer. I just brought that up to say that even though most people are aware, they know about cancer, they think it's the worst thing, the big bad wolf and all that good stuff. In actuality, heart disease is the number one cause of death worldwide. Not in America, but worldwide. So, if you would allow me real quick, I can't help myself. I said I was going to do 20 minutes, but when you do these things, it makes you think of other things. And we're going to get to the point. I promise the goal is to talk about anger, all right? The goal is to talk about anger. So, real quick, that's what I want to do. I'm actually going to pull up an excerpt of my book real quick, my digital file that I'm still working on, and I don't think I'm gonna show it to anybody, but I will read from it. All right, I will read from it if in fact my computer wants to bring up. Yeah, here we go. Alrighty, there we go. Oh boy, I haven't looked at this. It's actually fun looking at this. I haven't looked at this in so long. It still needs to be edited and some other things. But here we go. So here we go. So again, I have it pulled up over here on my other screen. Watch, I'm gonna do a quick boop, boop. All right, there you go. You saw it. I'm done with it. All right. Bam. So anyway, cancer, like I said, most people really focus on cancer. Cancer is the second leading cause of death worldwide, and it kills about 10 million people every year. All right, so about 10 million. But if you were to look at the number of people at the time of writing Um, heart disease kills about 20 million. So if you do basic math, that will tell you that heart disease kills twice as many. So why are we saying that? So again, we're talking about the fact that most people will focus on cancer. They'll say, "Hey, cancer is so dangerous, it's so scary, it's so terrible," but in actuality, um, it kills less. It kills half the amount of people that heart disease does. So let me close that out so that doesn't pop up anymore. Don't want you all up in my business. So again, like I said, heart disease is the leading cause of death worldwide, accounting for an estimated 13% of all deaths globally. It also is the top killer in the United States, responsible for this number. I've read bigger numbers than this, but again, it's a bunch of people that don't need to die, right? So why are we talking about anger, right? Well, the first thing that we're going to talk about here real quick is the fact that if you're angry, right? So when you feel angry, you should probably get into your kumbaya mode. Kumbaya, right? Take deep breaths, things, but we'll get into that in a few minutes. But anger may harm your heart and blood vessel health. So we already know that heart disease is the leading cause of death on the planet. It's already the leading cause of death on the planet. And there are several major contributors, right? I'm going back to I just haven't read the book in so long. I got to pull it back up. And I just wanted to tell you about, you know what? I won't do that today. We'll do that a different day. All right. But the point is, we'll do that a different day. But the point is, the leading contributors to heart disease are atherosclerosis, arteriosclerosis, which inhibits blood flow to the heart, and that is caused by primarily diet and inactivity, right? But when you throw on top of that, you have a poor diet, you don't move a lot, you're sedentary, and then on top of that, now you're dealing with anger. And we know the way the world is, everybody's always concerned with bills, and then there's children, and then there's work, and then for the people that's way into sports too much, that's making you upset. Then you're all on social media worried about what somebody else is doing and how that's making you upset. And maybe there's so many different things that we have going on in the world. Now we add anger to the problem. All right, with your heart. So again, many studies have found links between negative emotions, right? We're talking about anger, and cardiovascular problems. So again, we do not want to exacerbate the problems with cardiovascular disease because it's already a big deal. The underlying mechanisms have been unclear, but impaired blood vessel function may contribute. So again, your blood vessels are little tubes, right? And I break this stuff down in my book as well. The book is really good, y'all. It's the best thing I've ever done with regards to my career. But they're little tubes, and they have to circulate blood throughout the body. And if there's any impairment in their function, it's going to harm organs. And in this case, we're talking about the heart. Like I said, they break down a study here where you got 280 adults, different ethnic backgrounds, and they're all considered healthy with no reported history of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, or other serious conditions. By the way, heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, I address all of those in my book. So none reported taking medications or dietary supplements. In my book, I tell you about why you may not want to be taking why you might not want to be taking medications. But anywho, so the participants were assigned to groups. They had the anger group, you had the anxiety group, you had the sadness group, and you had the emotionally neutral, just kind of like, hey, I'm just chill. Those in the anger and anxiety group were asked to recall and talk for 8 minutes about their personal memory that evoked the assigned emotion. Those in the sadness group, where is it at? The researchers collected measurements before and after. These included blood pressure. So they're talking about what measurements did they do, what baseline measurements did they take. They did blood pressure, heart rate, and blood tests. Let's see, I'm trying to get to the, there we go. Participants in the anger group had significant impairment to blood vessel dilation compared to the neutral group. So what does that mean? That basically means that the folks that were in the anger group, when you want to have blood vessel dilation, you want to have a nice opening. That's why I'm showing a tube. That's why I have this circle here with my hand. But when you have constriction, you see how much smaller, if you can even see, there's more constriction. That's what they're saying. So when you're angry, there's going to be more vasoconstriction. That basically means your blood vessels are more constricted, and therefore there's less blood flow. And what is the result of that? Increased blood pressure, increased heart rate, decreased blood flow to your organs, your brain, and many other important organs. So the point is, anger is not a good thing, specifically when it's long term. Now, I take that back a little bit. It is a good idea. Sometimes anger can be useful. All right, it does help trigger your fight or flight response. Right. So sometimes you need to get angry. You might have to fight. You might have to defend yourself. You never know. So those are short bouts. But when you're chronically angry, right? When you have issues with your anger, when you can't control it, when you can't find a way to relax, or you're too anxious all the time and tightly wound, it's going to affect your blood vessels, which is going to affect your heart, your cardiovascular system, and many other parts of the body, right? So the other thing here, right? So again, anger hurts your health, right? Long-term anger can result in increased risk for cardiovascular problems. So again, what's the number one contributor of death to all humans on the planet? It's heart disease, right? And that's again from your diet and other things we already talked about. But anger adds to cardiovascular problems. It can weaken your immune system. So now, when it gets cold, right? Allergy season, stuff like that, or just in general, right? We remember a few years ago, wow, 5 years ago now. Is it me, or does COVID seem like it was 30 years ago? Like, man, but it was 5 years ago now. But if we all remember COVID was going on, and now weakened immune system, greater susceptibility to illness, digestive problems, right? So if you have digestive issues, that may harm your ability to absorb nutrients, and it may affect your gut as well, which we're going to talk about here in just a second, right? So again, there was another thing I wanted to tell. Oh, rewiring your brain. Okay, so if you keep hitting your mental alarm system every day in and day out, it eventually starts to rewire how your brain works. Essentially, anger can beget more anger. So the more you get angry, the more likely you are to get angry, right? So repeated episodes of anger may certainly fortify the pathways to lead to more anger, right? So your brain's amygdala, this is like the part of your brain that kind of deals with like when you're afraid, and with your rage or anger. It can also be more reactive. Your prefrontal cortex, which is so critical for reining in excess anger, develops less connectivity, right? So what this means is this area of your brain deals with rational thought, it deals with judgment, it deals with making proper decisions. So if your prefrontal cortex has less connectivity, that means you're going to be making poor decisions, bad choices. So that's why they say it's important to calm down, right? Let me go ahead and pull this one up real quick, because this was something my wife and I talked about not too long ago. And let me pull this up. See if we can find it. What did Yoda have to say? If anybody knows what I'm going to pull up, if anybody watched Star Wars before, he said something about anger. Now, if you don't know, fear is tied to anger, right? I bet you if I were to type this in real quick to prove it to you, is fear tied to anger? Yes, fear is tied to anger and can be intertwined, right? So the reason why I bring this up is just funny that this character from Star Wars, right, famously warned that fear leads to anger, right? Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to, what is this word here? Suffering. So in a sense, anger leads to suffering. And we know that because we've already explained that, okay, from the science perspective. So yes, the movies are correct as well. More correct than you might know. But so again, stress is the pathway in your brain to become like a well-worn path, which makes it much easier for stress and anger to signal to signal to fire, right? So you don't want to mess up the connections in your brain, which kind of brings me to my next point, right? Where is it at? So I typed in the search bar, anger damages neurons. And so, real quick, if you don't know, what are neurons? What are neurons? Neurons are nerve cells that send messages all over your body, right? So basically, throughout your entire body, whenever you're doing anything, talking, speaking, walking, talking, speaking, the same thing, talking, walking, eating, thinking, whatever you're doing, playing a game, watching TV, you're going to need neurons in order to communicate all of those signals, right? So, unfortunately, chronic or intense anger can indeed damage neurons in the prefrontal cortex, which we just talked about here on the previous article, right? So you do not want to damage your prefrontal cortex. Again, other parts, your hippocampus can be damaged. Plays a crucial role in memory formation. So again, these are the things that anger can do to your brain and your nervous system and your body as a whole, right? And then lastly, another part that's important is your gut. Okay, another part that I speak about thoroughly in my book. I explain the way the gut, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to tell you anything else. I'll start reading when I get it. When I get done, I'll have story time every now and again, but I won't give away everything. Obviously, you got to get it right. But so the gut. So some you might have heard about the gut brain connection. Some people will call the gut the second brain. This much discussed link between our emotions and our stomachs. Basically, you have your gut, which is like your intestines, right? Not necessarily your stomach, which is a little bit higher, but your gut. There's lots and lots and lots of nerve cells in there, and they do a lot of communication with your brain. They talk a lot. All right, so feelings of anger and rage can trigger GI discomfort, malabsorption of food, and loss of appetite. So I hinted at that a second ago, just to emphasize the point that your anger is going to damage your blood vessels, which increases your blood pressure, your risk of heart attack, stroke, and heart disease. Anger is going to damage your brain and your neurons, your prefrontal cortex, your judgment, your decision making. Now we're talking about having a problem with absorption of nutrients in food, and now you're losing your appetite. And if you lose your appetite, what can that lead to? Unexplained weight loss, right? So again, many issues with anger. I have one more question about anger. I want to see. I'm just curious. I'm curious about this. How does anger? Let's see. Is it? I never know if it's affect or effect. Affect weight. Let's see what that says. It might say weight loss. I would think anger. Oh, look. So now we're talking about the fact that anger could actually help trigger emotional eating. So on the one hand, you can deal with loss of appetite because you have your discomfort with your gastrointestinal tract. You're not absorbing food properly. So again, that's affecting your appetite, and now you're not eating, so you could lose weight uncontrollably potentially. Now on the other flip side, this may trigger emotional eating, which could help with weight gain, which that's not something any of us want, right? Well, some of us do maybe, I don't know, but you get the point. So again, anger, no bueno. So how do we deal with this? This is, and I didn't pull up anything online. I'm gonna do it with y'all real time, but right off the bat, some of the best things you can do to deal with anger is going to be your breath. That's something that I use because whenever I get anxious or angry about something, if I feel my teeth starting to grind a little bit, I will focus on my breath. I generally will take deep breaths in, I'll hold it, close my eyes, and I'll blow it out again as well. So that's one of the things I like to do. Another good thing, obviously, is to exercise. And specific exercise. One of the best exercises for stress release is yoga because they do focus a lot on breathing. But anything, lifting weights, running, walking, playing your favorite sport, any of those things are good for stress relief. Games, your favorite type of games, activities, connections with family, conversations, talking about your problems. These are all good things, just right off the top of the dome. That's good for dealing with anger. But let's go ahead and see what Mr. Internet says, and we're going to get out of here. How to control and reduce anger. Right? Let's just see what pops up. Right? Relax. Look at that. Deep breathing. They do, doing professional help. Right? Let's see if we can find one quick little article. Let's go to the American Psychological Association and see what they're talking about. Control anger before it controls you. All right, what is anger? That's a good question. What is anger? Right? What is anger? Let's pull that up for y'all. What is anger? Anger is an emotional state that varies in intensity from mild irritation to intense fury and rage. Like other emotions, it is accompanied by physiological and biological changes. When you get angry, your heart rate and blood pressure go up, as do the levels of your energy hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline, right? Like epinephrine, that kind of stuff, right? So how do you control it? Let's see what they say about that. Anger management. Relaxation. Breathe deeply, like we just talked about. Repeat a calm word or phrase, such as relax. Yeah, man, I do that sometimes. Like, I didn't even know I did that until I just read that. Sometimes if I get into, like, if I'm getting upset about something, I'll literally just tell myself, oh, chill out, chill out, chill out, chill out. I'll just say it over and over again. And it helps, right? Use imagery. Visualize a relaxing experience. Maybe visualize something from a vacation or your imagination. Maybe a place you want to go. Again, we talked about this one already. Yoga. Do that kind of stuff. So again, do things that help you relax. Anything that can relax you and bring your heart rate down is going to extend your life. Is going to increase the ability of your heart to continue to deliver blood throughout your body. Because again, the most important organ, I'm going to do one more and then I'm going to go. Because I said I was supposed to be done at 7. It's 7:03. So I'm going to do one more thing that just popped in my brain. I always argue that the most important organ in the entire body is the heart, right? I'm just curious what research, and it's not going to be a deep research, but let's see, what is the most important organ in the body? Now, they're all important, duh, but I'm just curious what comes up. Sometimes you get this one. They'll say the brain. The brain is arguably the most important organ in the body, serving as a control function for all bodily functions, the control center for all functions. But here's the thing. And I'm gonna debunk this real quick, right? And I kind of addressed this in my book a little bit as well. How does your let's do this real quick, just because we're having a little fun. Does the brain need blood? Does the brain need blood? We know the answer. Yes. The brain requires a constant supply of blood. So they're saying that the brain is the most important, but it needs blood. All right, let's do another one here real quick. Let's close that out. Let's see. Let's go with, what should I type in? Oh. How does the body... Watch this. We all know these answers, but I'm just doing it for a reason. Right? I typed it wrong, but y'all get the point. Type too fast. Well, your heart circulates blood. So your brain needs blood, but your heart circulates blood. Now, lastly, does your heart have its own pacemaker? Dang, I cannot type. Own. That's what I want to say. Yes, your heart has its own pacemaker. That basically means that your heart doesn't necessarily need a signal from the brain to beat. So my point is, even though if you want to say 1 and 1A, that's perfectly fine. Brain and heart, super important. But there is not any part of the body that can function without blood. And the thing that sends blood everywhere is the heart. And the heart, the brain takes its cues from the brain takes its cues from the heart. So again, what's my point? The number one killer on the planet is heart disease, and anger can harm your heart. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. No Q&A. If anybody has questions, this is the time we do Q&A real quick. It's been a while since I advertised that one. Kind of forget sometimes, but I'll sit here for a second or two, and then I'll just plug myself. Right. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, X, at Fitness Charles. Subscribe. Oh, I didn't even tell y'all in the beginning. Make sure, doubly, triply, quadruply, quintuply, centuply, sextuply. Subscribe to the channel, y'all. All right, like this video whenever you watch it. Share this video whenever you watch it, and subscribe to the channel. Okay, all you gotta do is literally hit subscribe. If you're watching YouTube in 2025 and you don't know how to subscribe to somebody's channel, that's probably not a good thing. But again, your number one source. I'm gonna get ready to update. This picture is so old, but I'm getting ready to update that here soon. It's been so long since I had short hair. But anywho, this is literally though your number one source for health, fitness, and nutrition education. You're not gonna find any of the stuff that's on this channel anywhere else. It's not gonna happen. But again, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, always. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll. It's dinner time. Time to sit down, watch a little telly, chill out. I will catch y'all next Thursday as always. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful weekend that's coming up. And always be happy, be healthy, and be fit forever.